If you are a business owner and you're in your business now and you're feeling like something just isn't right, you have a problem, you can almost point at that problem, but you're unsure how to address it. Is it going to affect my business? Is it going to affect my employees? Maybe that person has a bunch of knowledge and we can't afford to lose that individual. Maybe you're waiting for them just to turn things around and get better. You might be what we call an unsure business owner. Welcome to the KeyHire Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Harlock, creator of KeyHire, where we help small business grow with our talent. Before we dive into today's topic, I just want to ask you a quick favor. If you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening to us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you're hearing this content, if you're getting some insights from the show, can you do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe or follow button? If today's topic hits home with you, help us spread the word, share this episode with a business owner you might know who could use the information. We do this show to help small business owners, and we'd really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word and broaden our reach. Also, you can be sure to connect with me directly on LinkedIn. Just search up Corey Harlock. I might be the only Corey Harlock on LinkedIn. We're always posting hiring tips and information on our channels, and I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to connect with you. So send me a request to connect, and I will be sure to accept that, or send me a message and let me know what topics will help you the most. So today we are continuing our series on what we call our key owner stages. Last show we talked about the overwhelmed business owner. These are the guys, to use the car analogy, the wheels have fallen off the car and they're scratching their head wondering, how do I even start to fix this problem? Today we're moving into the next stage that we've identified, which is our unsure business owner. Now, to use the car analogy for this business owner, we call these the wobbly wheels. So your business is going down the road where an overwhelmed business owner, the business might be stuck, not going anywhere. The unsure business owner, the wheels, you're going down the road, but you got some wobbly wheels. It's not a very smooth ride. It's a rough ride. And you can point to it and you can say, man, my wheels are wobbly, but you're not sure how to go about fixing them, or what wheel to fix first, or how to address it. Some signs that you might be in the unsure category. You might be finding it really difficult to be subjective. Again, as a business owner, you could be the owner, you could be a partner, you could be a second or third gen owner who's taking things over. So you could be facing some resistance from people in the business. These are people that maybe helped you launch your business, have been good soldiers for you and been there through thick and thin. They could be legacy employees that were hired by your parents or whoever has handed the business down to you, and you want to honor that legacy. But they could be the people that are giving you the resistance. And so it's hard to be subjective in these circumstances when they're friends or family or long-term family friends, to truly look at them and say, I think there's a problem here. You know there's problems, but you can't identify what it is. You might be saying things to yourself like, so-and-so is going to find their way out of it. They just need a little time. They'll figure it out. And this could be happening perpetually. This problem, maybe in the past, you gave them a week or two and they figured it out. But maybe now you're into a month, 2 months, 6 months down the road, and you're not seeing them figure it out, but you have your fingers crossed. You're playing the wait and see game and hoping that you won't have to address the issue, because honestly, it's just a horrible issue to have to deal with, a long-term employee. You could be losing confidence in someone while this is happening. So you could be looking at that old tried and true person and thinking, what's going on? What's happened? Why can't they perform? And we'll get into that in a little bit as well. It could be some concern with a specific department. So it could be sales is just struggling. They used to be bringing people in, but they haven't been bringing in new business. We've been losing accounts. We haven't been winning bids. We haven't been winning projects. We haven't been getting contracts coming through the door. I know there's a problem there. I just don't, man, I don't know how to address it because they've been so good for me. It could be operations. They're just falling behind. Quality is falling off. On-time deliveries are falling off because the volume of the business has increased and that individual hasn't been able to scale with the business, which makes you have to jump in and fight a lot of fires. You might be taking calls from angry customers. You might be having to jump in and roll up your sleeves to get stuff done, to push things over the finish line, or because they're late or overdue, or because they're about to be late or overdue, or because you just got a call from an angry customer. And you're using people as sounding boards. You're just kind of, I don't know what to do. I'm unsure if what action I can take, but also when I take that action, how does it impact the business as we go forward? A scenario might look like we have a legacy employee who's been with us for 20 years, and they've been an integral part of our operation. And they know where all the bodies are buried. They know where everything is and how to fix every machine. And if something breaks down or we need to find something, they are that go-to person. And if they weren't in my business, how does that affect my business? Can I still operate? How much pain is that going to cause me? What are my options with this person? Do I have to fire them, or what other choices do I have here? And so you're a little confused about what's happening, what my options are, and what will happen if I exercise one of those options. And it's just really hard to walk away from that. You find yourself kind of drawn back to the office because you're almost expecting some trouble, or what is it going to be versus is there going to be any problems today? And are people ready to solve those for me? It can be a really stressful situation for you. And can be a lot of finger pointing amongst departments when people feel like they're being pushed into a corner. And that can happen when the demands of the business rise. And this doesn't happen consciously. We talked about this in the last podcast too. These aren't bad people trying to hurt your business, and you're not a bad boss trying to ruin someone's life. We're running a business, and what has happened is the demands of your business on some individuals who have been with you a long time, the demands are just greater than their capacity to deliver on them. They don't have the tools in their toolbox. I think we used the analogy in the first pod. If they have a hammer, if their toolbox consists of a hammer, everything's going to look like a nail. So they're going to do things the same way they've always done them because that's all they know how to do. But as your business is growing and scaling, getting more complex, different offerings, different services, whatever it is, these people just don't have the tools in their toolbox to adapt and create the process and procedure you need to scale. One key indicator to look for is if time is the only input, and we've talked about this before. If the only thing they can do is hire more people to work harder, work longer, more overtime, that's the only way they can meet the demands of your growing business, they might not have the capacity to grow your business and scale your business the way to implement the process and procedures you need in your business to grow it the way you want to grow it. So we want to find people with more tools in their toolbox. So they get kind of cornered and they feel like everyone's coming in on them. Now they're being criticized where they never used to be criticized. People might be pointing to them and saying, hey, why is this late? Hey, why are sales down? Hey, why did so-and-so just quit? They've been with us for years and I have no idea what happened. It could be a number of things. There could be some interdepartmental conflict boiling up because people are trying to deflect away from some of the shortcomings they might have. And again, not intentional, it's just instinctive. And if you think about your people that you might have in your mind right now, this is a really bad place for them to be as well, because they're used to being the go-to person. They're used to delivering. They're used to getting along with everyone and coming to work and loving what they do and being a part of that creative process. And now they're the person that's holding you back. And they're the person who are making mistakes. And they are the person who you're looking at in a different way than you used to. So it's hard for you, but it's real hard for them too. So we always have to understand that, and we have to be empathetic around that. So that's kind of the definition of what an unsure business owner might feel like, right? And these key owner stages aren't based on dollar values or where you are. The key owner stages are really built around how a business owner is feeling about their business at a particular time and why, what might be causing that from our perspective in dealing with, hundreds of small business owners. So I think we've outlined that unsure business owner. Wobbly wheels is what we call this one. You're going down the road. It's a bumpy ride, but you're going to get to your destination, but it's not going to be very fun. So as a small business owner, what are some of the mistakes we can make? Number one is the wait and see. I've always said wait and see equals good people leave. So if you have a manager, a leader, a key person or two or three that you are getting suspicious of, they kind of meet that criteria we just talked about, and your attitude or your approach to the resolution for you is, let's give them some time, they'll figure it out. What could potentially happen, and I've seen happen a lot, is your good people who have the capacity, have the experience, have the accountability primarily, will get frustrated because you're allowing people to underperform in their mind. You're not dealing with the issue. And so they get tired of busting their butts and performing at a high level while others are perceived to be allowed to get away with not doing that. And so the people that are underperforming won't be the ones that leave. Your high performers, the people you really need, will be the ones who get frustrated and will end up leaving you. Now these underperformers could become even more important inside your business, because now you think, oh, we just lost a key person. I really have to lean on this person who hasn't been getting it done and give them more and hope for more from them. So that's kind of one mistake we could make, is the wait and see. The number two mistake we can make is the hair trigger, the quick decision. We can go in and say, that's it, I'm done with this person, I'm going to fire them. I'm tired of them making my life difficult or holding me back. Again, we're dealing with human beings here, so we do need a measured approach. There are a couple different ways we can deal with the conversation when it comes to dealing with these leaders or key people that might be holding us back. But acting too fast and not putting a contingency in place could be a problem for you too. You're going to lose that tribal knowledge. You're going to lose that information and knowledge of your business that some people might have, and you won't be able to transfer it. You can't get it out of them. And you could create a big hole, and with no one to fill it in the short term. Now, that could be the right decision, but I think we need to do some analysis first. So we have waiting too long. We have acting too fast. So wait and see, and I'm just going to pull the Band-Aid off. We always want to land somewhere in the middle, and we'll get to that with kind of the best steps and what we need to do. Some other mistakes you might make here are just hire someone quickly to bring them in and try to fill that hole without going through the right process. Hiring someone isn't a bad idea if they're the right person. But again, we'll go back to, and what we talked about with the overwhelmed business owner is, and it still applies. It applies to almost always, but the small business owners, our three biggest mistakes we make when trying to bring someone into our business, especially a key leader or really important person, with specialized knowledge are, the three mistakes are, number one, we don't clearly define the role. So we have an idea of what we think we need, and then which leads to mistake number two, we hire for current needs, not future needs. Remember, I like to use the example, and this might not apply exactly to your business, but if you're a $10 million a year business and you want to grow, our goal isn't to hire someone to run your $10 million a year business. Our goal is to hire someone to run your $50 million a year business, currently doing 10. And that's the way we can bake some capacity into our search for the right person. And then the third big mistake business owners make are they don't have a defined and repeatable hiring process. So when we create a hiring process, if we're hiring for a specific role, we want to make sure we include the same people in that process every time. We don't substitute people in and out of that process. And the reason for that is we always want to create a baseline. So if I'm doing creating a hiring process for my owners for a key role, we will identify up front who's going to be involved, because when we debrief, I want the same person giving me feedback based on the questions they asked and their experience and what their part in that interview process was. If we have different people, they could ask very different questions. So then when we debrief, their feedback doesn't really, it's hard to reconcile because they haven't asked the same questions. They have a different mind frame. One person may have just been pulled in and said they're going to be a part of this. They may not have time to prepare. We may not have debriefed them and said, here's what we want you to talk about. So we always want to make sure we're just using the same people. Same people asking the same questions in the same order is something we like to say. But we also want to make sure our process is well defined and we're communicating next steps to a potential candidate, especially if it's for a leadership role. So these are the three biggest mistakes. It's not defining the role, hiring for current needs, and not having a clearly defined process by which to hire so they can make sure we're creating that scorecard, checking the boxes and saying, yes, this person is meeting the requirements of the role. At KeyHire, we divide everything. Our scorecard is divided into three categories. We have experience, we have capacity, and we have culture. And we want to measure everyone on those three criteria. And if they don't meet a threshold of 80%, we just don't pursue them. It doesn't mean they're bad employees. It means they're not right for the company we're hiring for. They're not right for your company. And we don't want to waste your time, and we don't want to gamble on putting the right person in. This is we talked about this with the overwhelmed. Another mistake you might make is getting someone in. So you might go hire a big ticket person because, hey, I have a problem and I'm just going to bring someone in who I think can just come in here and fix this issue for me because I know where the issue is and I think I can do that. The other side of that coin is hiring someone on potential and expecting them to be able to deliver the results of someone with a high level of experience. These are the people that are younger. They may not have worked in a larger facility. They may have not been in a leadership role. They're probably someone sitting in your business who is a real go-getter. You brought them in to do a low-level job and you've promoted them quickly into having more responsibility, maybe into a supervisor role or taking over an aspect of the business. And you think, well, I'm going to plug them in there because every challenge I've thrown at them, they've been able to handle. The problem with that is they're going to peter out. The Peter principle. Everyone rises to the level of their own incompetence, and you're probably going to overwhelm that person. And now you're really going to take the person who's in that role and their nose is going to get way out of joint because you've thrown someone in with less experience and said, hey, this person's here to help you. And maybe they can't. And between the two of them, they still don't have the experience and the capacity to build a better process or procedure. Between the two of them, they have two hammers. So everything still looks like a nail. We just got two people hammering nails instead of one. If you're going to throw someone in there, they have to bring a new tool to the tool set a new skill. So those are some of the mistakes that you might make as you go down the road trying to address this kind of problem. What we really need is a diagnosis. What we really need to do is go in and look at the situation. We want to understand where the constraint is, where that major constraint is. We want to understand where the talent and experience gaps are. So we have something blocking up the business and we want to understand why, what is behind that. And sometimes it might not be what you think. I'll share a great example with you. I once had a client who told me he wanted a general manager to come in and oversee operations and sales. So as we went through and did our diligence, what we understood was sales wasn't an issue. There were sales pouring into this business. They were not hurting for sales, but their operation was really lacking capacity. It was a CNC shop. They had a lot of heavy equipment. They were running, heavy forklifts. They had a lot of shipping, receiving, a lot of logistics things they dealt with. And it was a very fast moving and complex business. And they didn't have anyone in the operational side who knew how to level up that business to keep up with the demands of the sales and the demands of more complex items that they had to make. And so I went back to the owner and said, it's not a general manager that you need. That's not what's holding you back. What's holding you back is a high level director of operations, someone with some lean management, someone with a lot of safety, someone with some quality training, that we can put all of these things in place for you that will enable you to scale, increase your on-time deliveries, increase your quality, make sure everyone's going home with 10 fingers and 10 toes. I said, what the challenge is going to be for you is if you hire a general manager, is if they come from a sales background, if they're mostly sales with a little bit of ops, you're just going to get more sales in your operations. Is going to continue to struggle until the point where it possibly implodes. If they're mostly operational with a little bit of sales, you're going to be disappointed because you're going to feel like they're neglecting sales, because where all the work has to happen is in operations, and they're not going to spend a lot of time with the sales team. And the sales team is going to say, well, this guy, they're not doing anything for us. We're not increasing sales. Why aren't sales going up? But they're going to be leveling up your operation, which is really what's needed. So I said, the director of operations is the role you need. That's the role we went after. That's the role we filled. And, once we got that person in there, literally within 4 weeks, they had done incredible things with that facility. And they were able to, if sales is up here and ops were down here, they had at least leveled up. They got real close to the point where we could say, okay, now let's go on sales. Let's really put a push on sales because they're there. And over the next couple of weeks, they're going to get better. And we can really push some more sales through and really challenge them and stress that part of the operation. So it's looking at that diagnosis and saying, okay, where truly is the problem? In your operation, you might be saying, we need more sales. Now, in my experience, that salesperson might be telling you, my guys are not confident to go out and sell because they don't think operations can deliver. Then when you go talk to operations, they might say, no, we're good to go. Like sales, they keep giving us these wonky orders. They're not following the process. So our production time is we're getting beat up in production time because we have to put in extra time to do these special little intricacies that they're promising the client. Our labor cost is more because we have to spend more on these products. So now our margin's down. So that's kind of a common thing that might happen back and forth. And if you go in there and do the right diagnosis, you might say, no, your operation, you have a really good operations crew. Your sales guys are, in order to win the sale, they're promising the moon. And I know salespeople never do that. That's sarcasm, but we know salespeople will do often whatever they need to do to get a sale. It's not wrong. It's what salespeople do. Or it could be your sales guy, your person could be 100% right. You could go into operations and say, man, we do not have a lot of capacity here. We do not have a lot of knowledge. The toolbox is really bare. We don't have anyone who understands lean, anyone who understands 5S, anyone who understands job studies and how to break things down, who look for constraints, anyone who knows how to break things out and add costing to each part of this job. Maybe we don't have the right system where we're logging into jobs, logging out of jobs. Maybe if it's service, maybe our trucks are loaded with the wrong equipment. So our guys are getting on site and they don't have what they need. So now they spend half their time chasing down supplies to fix things that are pretty common and make up a lot of the service that they do. So that's all to say, because one area of your business is struggling, it doesn't necessarily mean it's that department or that person. And so that's where the diagnosis gets really important. Then once we do the diagnosis, an unsure business owner is really just looking for some guidance, someone to say, okay, here are our options, and here's how we execute on those options. What are you most comfortable with? How do we want to approach this? Someone in the unsure category could often say things like, I've tried hiring expensive people before, it hasn't worked. I've tried agencies, they don't understand my business. And that's fair. A lot of large agencies don't understand the nuance of small business. They could be saying, I'm just going to do it myself. I'll work harder. We've talked about, I'm just going to wait and see. This is a good person, good friend of mine. They've been with my business a long time. They're going to figure it out. So they're really just looking for someone to come alongside them and say, here, let's have a look and let's really see, have an outsider, have a look and see, someone to understand your business, someone to figure out, okay, where is this breaking down? And what is it? Is it a process deficiency? Is it a people issue? Is it a capacity issue? Is it a process issue? Oftentimes, a lot of those are going to lead back to people, but we want to understand where that constraint or breakdown is, so we know what we need to target, and we can help you and work with you and say, here's the area that we need to address. Then we can go out and create that job profile, or what we call our avatar, to really identify what are the skills and experience whoever's coming in here to fill this role needs to push us forward, to do $50 million while we're currently doing 10. That way we understand the current needs, future needs. We clearly define that role, then we push it out. So we don't hire for today's needs, we hire for future needs. And then we put that process together, and you'd need to put a nice process together, because now we're interviewing very sophisticated, experienced leaders. And they're used to a professional process, especially the people with the capacity we need, because they're going to be coming from larger companies, and they're going to have this feeling. The reason they're going to want to work for you is, I've worked for these large companies, I've done what they've asked, but I didn't feel like I have a voice. And now I have all this experience, and I want to go and have impact in a business. I want to flex my muscles and really use all of the experience I've gained over the years to have influence and impact on a business, to push it forward and do great things. That's their motivation. That's what they're looking to do. So as we go through this, sit back and look and try to find what the problem is. It's hard for a business owner. You're there, you can't see the forest through the trees, you're in the thick of it. So bringing someone in from the outside to do that assessment is also always very helpful. I understand there could be trust issues there, but it's something that could be very helpful to you. But what often happens here at the unsure business owner phase is, when you hire a professional leader, someone who's coming into your business who you learn to trust very quickly, and you can see like, wow, they can do more than I thought when I hired them. And this is something we hear from our business owners all the time. We follow up and how is that leader doing? And they'll say things like, man, they're doing great. They're doing things in that shop, or they're doing things in that sales department. I didn't know they could do that. They never mentioned it in the interview, or I had no idea that even existed. And that always makes me smile, because at KeyHire, we call that, we're changing the definition of what good looks like within a company. And once you see a professional leader at work making changes and making your company better and bringing people together and really driving your culture, you'll progress to the next stage, which is our curious business owner. Now, curious business owners are the people who start thinking, what if? And we're going to talk about that in the next episode of our series next week. So I hope you tune in for that. We'll be talking about the curious business owner. But today we covered off our unsure business owner. If that sounds like you, we have some resources. Check us out on the website. We'd love to help you. So I'd like to thank you for tuning into the KeyHire Small Business Podcast. Again, if you got value out of this, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on podcast software, Apple, Spotify, please subscribe or follow us. Let your friends know. Send them a message and say, hey, check out this podcast. We're doing this for small business owners, and any help we can get to promote and share this information would be greatly appreciated. You can also leave us a comment, shoot us a message, let us know if there's topics you'd like us to cover in the interim. Thank you for listening. I'm Corey Harlock, and until next time, stop grinding, start growing.